We're in a bit of a transitional time for big publishers like Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Sony, but it's still a great time for video games. There are too many upcoming games to count, and we're doing our best to separate the wheat from the chaff. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 20 newly announced games that are worth wishlisting. Starting off, it's Fatekeeper. Ragdoll physics are back, way back with Fatekeeper. A lot of people are wishlisting this game, and based on the trailer, we get it. You're a magical knight with a talking rat companion and a giant sword. Each swing sends enemies ragdolling around the beautifully intricate environments. It's very silly, not in a can't take it serious way, but in a it's awesome, I want to play it way. Looks like a successor maybe to Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. It was basically the first game released with the powerful Half-Life 2 source engine, but you don't see ragdolling enemies that much nowadays, which is, for me, and a lot of the people here at gameranx, something that makes us excited about this game. They're saying it's a fully featured RPG experience that's reported to have huge open world environments, magic spells, dark fantasy, all played from a Skyrim-looking perspective. The word handcrafted comes up a lot in the marketing for this game, and here's hoping it's as good as it looks. Hey, unrelated, but some people aren't seeing all of our videos. A good way to deal with that is enabling notifications. Not only is it doing us a big solid, but it'll probably help you see something you want to see, if indeed you like what we're doing here. Thanks a lot for enabling notifications. Let's get back to the video. And number 19 is Windrose, a pirate-themed survival game. Windrose has rapidly climbed the Steam charts after a really successful demo dropped recently, and the developers are now claiming they've received over a total million wish lists. That's pretty much the yardstick lots of Steam indie devs use to gauge success, and for good reason. A lot of wish lists make your game more visible on the Steam platform, and that can make or break a smaller indie effort, obviously. Windrose dropped a demo it's such a well-received demo. It is gone from a game we have never heard of to a game that everyone has seen somewhere at this point. It looks like an awesome survival game to play with friends. You command a giant pirate ship, you search for buried treasure on islands full of dangerous enemies, you build your pirate empire online or offline. It's exactly the type of game that gets attention on Steam, but with a lot more style. Early trailers have shown some really amazing looking environments. See, it's not just like stomping through thick jungles, you got blighted, abandoned cities, awesome ship-to-ship combat, which you don't normally get in these types of games. It's a pretty ambitious game, and you can try it right now. Moving on to number 18, The Forest 3, which I assume this is a forest. It's just not on the same planet as the first two. It's another narrative first-person survival game where you explore a weird forest, collect resources, build bases with friends or solo, and discover some dark secrets. The new alien location offers a host of new challenges. Definitely a whole lot more options when it comes to building stuff. The first two forest games were incredibly tense, where creepy monsters would hunt you at night, and you'd slowly uncover the mysteries under your feet, and it was a pretty fun exercise in terror. Forest 3 has got a lot to prove with the smash success of Sons of the Forest. These developers are pretty prolific. Surprisingly enough, they put out survival games much faster than a lot of these other indie devs, but they also tend to be much more focused experiences with specific goals and an ending in reach. After all the bad news from the studio behind Subnautica 2, we're confident Night Games can strike gold a third time with this game. And number 17 is Tomb Raider Catalyst and Legacy of Atlantis. A big surprise, the original developers of Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics, didn't just announce a single Tomb Raider. In fact, they announced two, a remake of the first game called Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, and a full sequel to Underworld. It's a surprising new strategy that we are all about. Two big single-player games sounds like a safe bet and a unique chance to completely reboot the franchise after the darker Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. It's interesting because we're rebooting into an older timeline, which is not what we expected, but it does make sense. The older Tomb Raiders were more colorful and openly supernatural. Not that the new ones were not supernatural, but these had a peppier aesthetic and a more heightened version of Lara Croft. Definitely ready for a Lara Croft that dual wields and wears the tiny 90s sunglasses again. That's fun. I don't care who you say, those sunglasses are both hilarious and badass at the same time somehow. And because both these games were announced at the same time, we're just going to lump them together. Honestly, any new games from Crystal Dynamics that aren't live service junk, Avengers, that's pretty exciting for us, honestly. The very first Tomb Raider game deserves a remake more than most games. The old slow PS1 gameplay could use some refreshment, and a totally new game in the series that continues Lara Croft story is exactly the fresh take we needed after a long break from Tomb Raider. These games might be published by Amazon, who doesn't have the best track record, but Crystal Dynamics, these games are in good hands. They seem to be able to make good games under literally the worst conditions possible, and in this one glaring instance, it seems like they might actually just be straight up set up for success. And number 16 is Total War Warhammer 40k, the biggest departure for the historical RTS so far, completely changing the formula from the ground up to serve the unique genre requirements of Warhammer 40k. The world's grimmest, darkest setting is a major cultural export from the UK, so it makes sense British developer Creative Assembly gets to take a stab at revamping their best, most popular series for it. Total War Warhammer 40k is the first Total War game that is primarily about shooting guns. Even Napoleon Total War didn't have this many guns. Instead of commanding blocks of 100 little dudes, you'll take control over small squads on massive battlefields, maneuvering soldiers into cover on dense terrain that's definitely more detailed than anything we've seen from Creative Assembly. By necessity, this title runs on a new proprietary engine called Warcore. Rumors are that the 40k franchise and the Warcore engine are being developed alongside historical settings like World War I and World War II. Both settings would be huge departures for the series as well, and to be frank, we're excited to enter a new era for Total War. Warhammer 40k is probably the right choice for a new generation, and we're excited to see Orcs, Eldar, and Space Marines duke it out in the 41st millennium, where there is only war. And number 15 is LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. One of the silliest games on this list is also one of our most anticipated. Honestly, LEGO Batman is like a more ambitious LEGO Star Wars Skywalker saga. Legacy of the Dark Knight is literally like the entire Batman everything. Which, by the way, is not just not a sequential story, but not a sequential universe. And they are attempting to merge all of it. Campy Batman, Dark Batman, Beetlejuice Batman, and Patman. They're making it's all one thing now. It's crazy. But also, it's not meant to be taken too seriously. It's got slapstick cutscenes retelling all this stuff in a more kid-friendly way, but you have to respect the effort that takes to even attempt on any level. On the gameplay front, you'll exploring an open-world Gotham between completing LEGO game missions and swapping minifig characters to solve simple puzzles. It adapts the Arkham Asylum combat system, which I really, really like. You got Batman dodging, countering, throwing batarangs, trying to build up a combo score. Is shaping up to be the best and probably the most fun LEGO game to date, and I cannot wait to get knee-deep in silly-ass everything Batman. And number 14 is Forza Horizon 6. These games are a proven success story from Microsoft. They come out every few years and they reliably give us dozens of hours of fun arcade racing. Unlike the main Forza games, they're quick, they're light, enjoyable, even if you're not a total gearhead. Driving around the beautiful environments, it also helps. This time, it's a recreation of Japan, so we'll be driving through cherry blossoms and mountain roads and Tokyo, and we'll be drifting past our opponents because when you're in Tokyo, that's what you do. You Tokyo drift. We're going to be doing a lot of Tokyo drifting. You can bet your ass that is something that we say repeatedly when the game comes out. These games are basically never bad. You might get bored of them eventually, but that initial thrill of a new location is definitely enough to keep us excited for another round. The Horizon games are always worth a quick spin. It'll be available through Microsoft Game Pass, so even though it is an inflated subscription price, lest we forget, not a bad deal for Forza Horizon 6. And number 13 is Control Resonant. This skipped the line and became one of our most anticipated games this year. It's a semi-sequel to Control. It's obviously after Control, but it's a different game. My hope is that we get mainline Control sequels and Control Resonant sequels. 2 series would be my ideal, because both of these, at least if this one delivers on what it looks like it's going to deliver on, I want both. This one, you don't have guns in a tightly enclosed, brutalist interior environment. You're out in Manhattan and everything's gone crazy with The Hiss. You're out smashing paranormal entities with melee weapons. Reality has been bent, probably not just by the Hiss, probably by a lot of things. Seems like the oldest house has leaked out into New York City, and allegedly you're free to explore areas of said city. I don't know if that means this is an open world game, a la Prototype, but man, does it look a lot like Prototype. This doesn't continue Jesse Faden's story. It's her brother Dylan, who was partly the antagonist of the first game, but I guess he's better now, and well, we're always ready for more Remedy lunacy. As you know, I will talk your ear off about Control if you let me. If you're interested in that, by the way, become a member of the 1% Club down below and listen to The Falcon Show exclusively every Saturday there. And number 12 is Ontos, the next mind-bending horror game from the developers of Soma, a twisted exploration on the nature of reality. This game is exciting purely because of its pedigree. These are the developers behind the iconic Amnesia games. The first Amnesia, The Dark Descent, is a horror classic for a reason, but the developers have since expanded into different, stranger territory with their games. Amnesia: The Bunker proved they could add more gameplay to the Runaway from Monsters formula, and it can still be a very tight, dense, tense video game. And again, they made Soma as well, which is just a goddamn good game. I'm not sure what exactly to expect with Ontos or Ontos. I'm not even sure how to say it all the time. We do know actor Stellan Skarsgård is voicing a prominent character though, and he was in Andor and Chernobyl, so that can only be a good thing. We've got our own theories about this game. We're hoping it has explicit connections to Soma somehow, but we have no idea, truly. Whatever it ends up being, we are excited to see this game. And number 11 is Bradley the Badger, the kind of surprise we're absolutely here for. I guess it's kind of a Gex-like. Out of all the big announcements at the 2025 Game Awards, Bradley took us the most by surprise. A throwback to 90s 3D platformers, it's full of video game parodies. That's an original idea in 2026. The game starts with Bradley trapped in a twisty dark fantasy game called Badgerborn, which we're won over already. We've seen levels based on The Last of Us and Cyberpunk. The trailer even hints at a trip to the real world in a live-action interlude. Making a Gex-style game now is a risk because most of the quote-unquote funny games that are made, including Gex, the original games that we're talking about here, are not funny. They're also not generally good games. Not shitting on Gex for anybody who likes Gex, but Gex is absolutely adjacent to a number of bad games. This, on the other hand, actually looks like a lot of fun to play, which is, something we cherish when a mascot platformer not made by Nintendo looks like that. Will it establish Bradley as somebody who deserves to be in the mascot platformer pantheon with Banjo-Kazooie and Crash Bandicoot? We will see. And number 10 is Gang of Dragon. People are getting a little frustrated with the modern state of the Yakuza series. Each new game is another swan song for series protagonist Kiryu, and each game retcons and revives more characters that died for seemingly no reason. The Like a Dragon series is absurd to the max, but some of these retcons are just a bit too far for some. It's hard to blame them for the frustration, and a lot of players are clamoring for a return to the grittier style of Yakuza 1 and 2. The sicko developers at Nagoshi Studio are answering that call with Gang of Dragon. From the first trailer, we've already seen more blood, more gun violence, and more general crime than in most 20-hour Yakuza adventures now. If you've been playing the Yakuza games for as long as we have, it's almost shocking to see these Japanese guys in black suits committing violent crimes. Kiryu might ostensibly be a criminal, but he didn't even commit the crime he was sent to jail for. In 120 seconds of footage of Gang of Dragon, we have brawling, reckless driving, katana swinging, stabbings, and a headshot. A real, honest-to-God bullet in the brain. We'll find out if the bullets are rubber, though, later in 2026. And number 9 is Ace Combat 8, Wings of Theve. Honestly, couldn't be happier to see more Ace Combat. The alternate reality military simulation puts you in the cockpit of a modern-day realistic fighter jet and sends you into conflict zones without any real-life baggage that comes with, like, Call of Duty or Battlefield. The nations are made up, but the equipment is very real, giving aeronautics geeks a safe outlet for blowing up a billion enemy vehicles. Despite the realistic look, Ace Combat is an arcade action game through and through. You do not need to know how a fighter jet actually works or save precious missile ammo. You are given dozens of missiles and an almost bottomless pit of machine gun bullets to get the job done, and Ace Combat 8 will absolutely follow the trend of recent classics. we are sure you'll be fighting giant, impossible mega aircraft and other mildly sci-fi concepts as two fictional nations fight it out in a war that we will vaguely understand, but I guess that doesn't matter. The fun is how these games play and allow you to prepare for battle with different loadouts and crazy unlockable military weapons. This one also plays out its story totally in first person, putting you on an aircraft carrier with NATO-coded heroes, scooting from one mission and interpersonal drama to the next. We're pretty excited to see more from the narrative side of these adventures. Ace Combat, one-of-a-kind series in video games, and we're hyped for another big-budget sequel. And number 8 is Mega Man Dual Override. Capcom keeps hitting it out of the park with new video game announcements, and the return of Mega Man is exactly what we've been hoping for. The Blue Bomber hasn't had a major new release since Mega Man 11 way back in 2018, and it's Capcom, and it's Mega Man. It's a platformer, and it's coming out in 2027. We don't know a lot about the game other than it's a side-scrolling action game. Presumably Mega Man will fight Robot Masters, which, by the way, they're having a contest for. He'll collect new powers, and use those powers to defeat more Robot Masters. It's a classic formula for a very good reason, and the game developers at Capcom are essentially the masters of game design in our modern era. These guys know a good video game design, and each of their big series has only gotten bigger in the last decade. We did not even need a trailer to wishlist this sucker, but the reveal does confirm a whole lot of good things. The graphics are vibrant, cute, and colorful with a classic design for Mega Man and some sort of dual override power that makes his metal panels split open. We're excited to learn more, and we're putting stakes down now. This little game is going to be very good. That is a gameranx guarantee. And number 7 is Star Wars Galactic Racer. Man, if you'd have told me the Star Wars racing games were coming back, I would have laughed. But they are, and I'm laughing. In a good way, though. Galactic Racer is a spiritual successor to Pod Racer that we always wanted, and it's also much more. First, it's beautiful in a way most mascot or arcade racers are not. The graphics actually mirror the gritty, dirty sci-fi of Star Wars pretty well. Even better, you're not just limited to pod racers. Here you get your pick of land speeders, speeder bikes, skim speeders. The change in vehicles also means we'll get locations from all over the galaxy. You're not stuck in a sandy stinkhole like Tatooine for the entire game. Even better, the racing has a single-player narrative with branching paths. We don't know what that actually means, but I mean, it sounds right up our alley. Galactic Racer is the type of project we don't see very often out of big publishers like EA, and that's probably why this game is being developed by Fuse Games and published by Secret Mode, smaller outfits that are beckoning to the true backbone of the games industry. Fuse started by veterans of Criterion, the developer of Burnout and the Need for Speed games, which is just stellar news. If there's one thing these devs will not have to worry about, it is licensed to get cars that they're not allowed to destroy. Destruction is a requirement in a Star Wars racer. And number 6 is Castlevania Belmont's Curse. This is exactly what we wanted from Konami. For years, we've been practically begging Konami to hand Castlevania over to any talented indie developer. But not only did they do that, but they picked the one that we wanted them to do it with, the people who made Dead Cells. So Castlevania is returning to its 2D side-scroller platforming, and Motion Twin Games is making it. They are exactly the right devs for the job. They have some of the smoothest side-scrolling action control in games, period. And Dead Cells is great, although a roguelike. This one's a straightforward Metroidvania game. It's not randomly generated, it's an honest-to-God Castlevania game in the vein of Symphony of the Night with more Dead Cells-looking combat. Easy recommendation from us. I cannot see how this would be bad. And number 5 is Tropico 7. Now this is what we are hungry for. Tropico 7 is a game guaranteed to be good. The same developers have been cranking these games out since the beginning of time, and they continue to be some of the best city management sims out there. In these games, you play as a dictator for life with a tenuous grip on a small island nation. You set the policy of your banana republic. You can create a gleaming metropolis or an authoritarian prison state. Up to you. Although you do have to win elections. That's part of the thing. You can't stay in power without the people behind you, and if you piss too many of them off, they violently rebel. That is a big change in Tropico 7 we are excited for. You can now take direct control of your military units in more elaborate military engagements, adding a slight RTS element to the game. That's one part running a nation that we never really got to play around with this series before, and I'm psyched. Fighting rebels or an invasion from outside superpowers, real possibility in this game, and it's gonna be fun. And number 4 is Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 4. Big year for War. Total War and Dawn of War both making a comeback, both with Warhammer 40k. Not that Dawn of War, was ever not Warhammer 40k, but still, Dawn of War is a nostalgic favorite RTS at this point, and 4 promises return the series to its original roots, building bases, capturing control points, and summoning an army to duke it out with your enemies. Controlling your tiny soldiers never looked this good, and we're getting at least one unique new faction that hasn't appeared in any of the other games in the series so far, the Adeptus Mechanicus, a bunch of creepy tech wizards with robots and other advanced gear. This switches developers from Relic Entertainment to King Art Games. If you've never heard of them, they made Iron Harvest, which is a very high quality RTS that is worth checking out on Steam if you're a fan of this genre of game. Usually switching developers is a bad sign, but 2 and 3 were fairly divisive games, and King Art knows what the hell they're doing. Wishlist this thing, I have a feeling it'll stack up. And number 3 is Darkwood 2. One of our favorite indie horror games is getting a sequel from a totally different team. Darkwood 2 is being made by the developers of the Pathologic series. Might seem like not exactly the first thing you'd think of, but I think seems like it might be the right choice. Darkwood is psychologically twisted, and, well, a sequel has to be good. These top-down survival games put you on a time limit. You scavenge during the day, attempt to progress and escape from the region before night falls. At night, you have to hide in your home and wait out for whatever horrors come after you. Darkwood is one of the freakiest horror games we've ever played, so the new developers do have big shoes to fill. The setting is slightly different. Also, armed soldiers will be patrolling the desolate area, and there is a slightly different tone to the fairy tale strangeness. We are cautiously optimistic, though. And number 2 is Railborn. A survival game isn't good enough without a big gimmick in 2026. Railborn doesn't give you a pirate ship or a space station to build. To progress, you gotta construct a giant train. Your train is both a way to move around the open world and a base, not your average train also. It's massive. It's basically a janky structure moving around the world on a rail. That's the real draw of this game. It's a post-apocalyptic survival game about building a ramshackle train one piece at a time. You'll start with a crappy handcart to follow one of the complex systems of tracks, and you upgrade to different sources of power. Creating the Snowpiercer of your dreams is the fantasy, and we all know a few train nerds are going to go nuts over a game like this. And finally, at number 1, Divinity. Whatever Larian is cooking up next after Baldur's Gate 3, it's easily one of the most anticipated upcoming games. We don't know a lot about this one. We do know it will be produced lavishly, it will be very detailed, and it will be set in Larian's Divinity setting, but it will not be a sequel to Original Sin. The opening trailers show some pretty grotesque imagery juxtaposed with a festive atmosphere that goes wrong. It's a sick joke of a trailer and the kind of thing we've come to expect from the developer. Baldur's Gate 3 feels like the darker, spookier versions of Dungeons & Dragons, and Divinity makes its gross-out intentions known with the All Vibes announcement trailer. This one's so early you can't even wishlist it on Steam, but you can wishlist it in your heart. And this is one title we are hotly anticipating. Baldur's Gate 3 was one of the biggest hits of the 2020s, and the devs at Larian are operating on another level compared to the big RPG studios. The hardcore RPG renaissance is here. We're hoping this one doesn't take another 6 years to make, though. What do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this one. I'm Falcon. Join the 1% Club. That gets you access to the Falcon Show exclusively every Saturday. Kevin and Eric and me, we do that. It's a whole lot of fun. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.